Boom! Yes folks, Hume here again. So in this video we're going to continue our series where we're tracking Corona. Good? And in this video we have an interesting development to talk about, so let me get straight into it one time. So, well, it's almost 12 o'clock on the 21st of March. So by the time one is seeing this, it will be the 22nd of March. Alright? So somewhere within a matter of hours, on the night of the 20th, heading into the morning of the 21st, right, we got 40 new cases of the coronavirus. And those cases were announced by the Minister of Health on the morning of the 21st of March. That is yesterday, right? So the overall figure now jumps from 9 to 49 in one night. That's a drastic jump. By any measure, that is a drastic jump. All right, so we would have had 250 people being tested up to the 21st of March, of which 9 cases were positive. And then when we add the 68 from the boat, from the cruise, we have 318 people tested, and we now have 49 positives. So what can we take out of the situation in terms of analysis? What can we take in terms of projection? And what can we take in just simply our vigilance where the situation is concerned? All right, so first things first. There's no cause at this point in time for excessive panic. You know how we Trinidadians, I'm not so sure about the Tobagonians, but Trinidadians like to panic, right? There's no real cause to panic just because it jumped from 9 to 49, right? And the reason for that is because of this thing we refer to in statistics as the outlier, right? The outlier is a concept in statistics. So let me read off the official definition and then we'll get into the whole discussion. So one of the definitions, well, two of the definitions I got online for what an outlier is. One definition: a person or thing situated away or detached from the main body or system. And then the second definition: a person or thing differing from all other members of a particular group or set. Alright? We'll come back to those definitions in a little bit. So why are we talking about these outliers, right? So I would put those 68 people in the category of outliers. In other words, they don't form part of the regular set of people that we tested. All right. Remember, so far, based on my projections, we had these fellas here. So this here is what we would have gotten up until the 21st of March. Up until prior to the 21st of March, right? So I think the last results we got would have been on the 19th of March, where we moved from 7 to 9, right? That is here. And then on the 21st of March, we jumped from 9 to 49, all right? So because of the peculiar circumstances of those 68 people that now added to the figure here, we could safely treat them as outliers, meaning that they are what? Situated away or detached from the main body or system. Alright, and in this case, this definition is so appropriate because yes, they were situated away or detached from the main body or system, being in the sea on a cruise ship, right? As opposed to the other people who were being tested, who would have been coming through the airport from trips abroad. So while all the cases have been positive, sorry, not positive, have been, what's it looking for? While all the cases so far have been imported cases, right? These people on the cruise ship would have been imported from a cruise ship on the sea. All of them together in one spot, as opposed to different people coming in a kind of pseudo-random fashion from outside of Trinidad and Tobago through the airports. All right? So we could treat those people as a separate special group all by themselves. So that even though they tend to raise the figure substantially in a very short space of time, that is not cause the panic where the overall population is concerned. All right, so back to our good friend here now. So if you recall my previous two graphs in this series on tracking the corona, I didn't even have space for 30 at the top here. Right, remember the projection up to the 31st of March, which is 19 days out from the first test, would have been for 31 cases, right? Is a little over the 30 there. We didn't have space for that on the previous graph. Because of this guy here, we had to compress the graph a little bit by compressing the scale here on the y-axis, right? I'm not going to talk too much about that as a separate discussion, right? But the whole idea is that we now have a new graph fitting on the whole whiteboard, where you could clearly see the gulf, the disparity between these regular cases here. This is the 250 here, and then when you take the 68, boom, that's where you reach. All right. So what I will do going forward, I will maintain these three lines up until the 31st of March, looking for the data points here. All right. So what I will do, as the new figures come in, yes, there will be two sets of figures we have to consider. We have to consider the overall figure for the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, including the people who were on the cruise ship. And then we have to consider the overall figure separate and apart from the people on the cruise ship, right? Because this figure here would be a much more accurate representation of what happening where the general population is concerned, right? We're going to see if they're going to cross the little red line here, which will be my personal red line, my personal worst case scenario. We're going to see if the points continue to lie between my neutral and my worst case, which is between these two here. All right. Now, if we get anything going below this, then that is just beautiful. That is just wonderful, right? So just by way of recap, remember in my very first video, I made the projection that if we had between 10, sorry, let me start with the green line. If we had 10 and below, then that would be like the best case scenario. We're already at 9 separate and apart from the people on the boat, so we could safely scrap that, right? Anything from 10 to 19 would be excellent in terms of corona positives where the whole population is concerned. And anything between 19 and 30, I think, would be good where the whole population is concerned. We're already way above 30 for the overall figure, but again, we're treating the people on the boat as an outlier. So for the purposes of general projection, we're not considering them at all, right? They have been properly isolated by the relevant authorities. They are undergoing the treatment, etc., etc. And of course, it is safe to assume, based on what the authorities are saying, that well, I guess they would have protocols in place for families who send in things for them and all this kind of thing. But that's a separate discussion, right? So, as we go forward, we're going to pay attention to the overall figure, and we're going to pay attention to the non-cruise ship figure, right? The boaters versus the non-boaters, so to speak. If I could just invent some kind of crazy terminology as we go along. All right? And I just want to kind of bring the video to a close by saying a couple little things here now. If those figures were derived from the general population, then we would have had sufficiently more reason to be very, very much more concerned. Not that we're not concerned already, but we could take some level of heart in the fact that so far all of the cases have been imported, but we kind of still looking out to see when we will get the first homegrown case. And as soon as that happens, the conversation would evolve, the conversation would change. All right? So let us not be complacent, right? So all the people who feel that they still have to go in the bar, and the people who still feel that they have to go in the river, and the people who still feel that they must go to a congregation in church, notwithstanding all the guidelines from all the experts in terms of limiting the crowds for the sake of keeping this thing down. Come on, folks, let me be a little sensible now. Right? We don't want this thing to start to spread on a mass scale where the homegrown thing is concerned, right? So far, we have been very fortunate to be in a position where we could contain it simply because all the cases are imported. And all the measures being enacted now are being enacted with the overall goal of suppressing the number of homegrown cases, because that is where the real panic will start setting in among the population. Because at that point, there's no way of knowing if the person is sitting down next to him actually have it. There's no way of knowing if the person you're bouncing the grocery line have it, right? There's no way of knowing if the person who's sitting across from you on the aisle on the ferry between Trinidad and Tobago have it, right? So we're trying as best as possible not to go there. But as we do that, I personally will be doing my little analysis as we go along, just for the sake of education, just for the sake of letting people see the relevance of this thing we call mathematics and applying it in a real-time way to a real situation that's affecting all of us. All right? So everybody keep good. Take care of all yourself. Be safe. Wash your hands. Observe all the recommended protocols. Do what it is you have to do, and don't do what it is you don't have to do. All right? So keep good, take care, and look out for the next video.